Speaker this morning is Carol Settgast, and I'll let her speak about her background and what she wants us to know about um, what she's doing with her background and with the children. Carol,
Okay.
it's all yours.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to see very familiar faces. I love that. I'm Carol Settgast. My personal background is through USD 475. I started out as a first and second grade teacher, and then I got my library certification, and I became a teacher librarian, and was at Sheridan Elementary for over 20 years, serving as a teacher librarian, which I absolutely loved. The thing that I loved about our district was it had a very strong integrated library program, which means the librarians are teachers and walk alongside and co-teach, co-plan, co-teach with the classroom teachers, whatever they need support in curriculum. So that was where my background was. I have, at about 2010, I was accepted for a Fulbright Hays Scholarship Abroad program, and that program took about 13 educators to Ethiopia. The umbrella agencies that sponsored that were Ethiopia Reads and K-State University. And so that's where I became involved with Ethiopia Reads. It's a nonprofit organization that is there to strengthen literacy efforts. So Ethiopia has 110 million. That's the second largest country in Africa, and 47 million children from 0 to 14 years. Primary school attendance is 7 to 12 and is 68% of their population, or in attendance, 68% of that age group attends school, and 63% of second graders and 49% of third graders are non-readers, do not even read one word. So it's a very important mission that we have to boost literacy in that country. So it's Ethiopia Reads is a board in the United States and overseas, and the staff there is quite small, relatively speaking, for the size of a nonprofit it is, but they are a powerful, talented, gifted group that I've enjoyed working with since 2010. They have established 80 libraries and trained over 500 plus librarians, teachers, and school staff in different modules that we established when we started going over in 2010, and then 2011 the next year, and following years. We felt like we were taking the same type of instruction over there, so we really partnered with the Ethiopia Read staff and asked, what is it really that they need? What kind of training can we help bring to them that would strengthen their programs, their teachers, their school librarians? And so through that effort, then we, a small group of us, started the Book-Centered Learning Committee, which honed in on creating teaching modules, 24 teaching modules that we could share with them, and then they now have taken it over, and it's a train the trainers type of waterfall effect where they all do their own training now, and it's been really a great experience to see how you just work together and hand things over, and then it's their own. So they do a lot of training of staff over there, and then this trickles down to their school libraries, and as well as how we've supported getting resources to those libraries. We've also started, this will be the year, the 6th Annual Children's Reading Summit. I'm going to in 2 weeks, and in Addis Ababa, the capital city. And it is a summit that brings together all the stakeholders that have something to do with and an interest in boosting the literacy rates in that country. So the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, universities, teacher colleges, teachers, school librarians. We've now drawn in children's authors and illustrators, and then the printers. So all of these factions come together for 2 days, and there are various, even though we sponsor the reading summit, it's really theirs. We ask them to come and present. Each year we hear about the latest test results, and then, after each session, there is like a group chat so that we can exchange ideas, and it's been very, very useful. It's the only summit of its kind in the country, so that is something that I look forward to going to. All right, the 2010 Fulbright Scholarship Abroad Program is where I met Jane Kurtz. She was one of the sponsoring heads of that trip, and she is a very prolific children's author. She started Ethiopia Reads with another gentleman from Ethiopia who was a trained librarian, and they went back to Ethiopia, and she grew up there. And so she is still involved as an advisor, and I work closely with her as a children's book author. I've had her come to Sheridan Elementary on numerous occasions to operate children's author workshops, writing workshops, and she's been a great benefit to our students. So one of the projects that she came and talked to us about, so Ethiopia Read started primarily as establishing new school libraries and creating the space, the chairs, the tables, and whatnot, but also providing books. Well, we shipped over, and still do, thousands and thousands of English books, picture books, but then, obviously Jane and all saw the need for mother tongue language books. That's really where we needed to head next. So she started creating Ready, Set, Go books with the help of Open Hearts Big Dreams, who is involved in putting those books together. And she came to me when she was at Sheridan for an author visit and said, would you be interested in having your students help write one of these Ready, Set, Go books? I said, sure. So I got a group of students together, and this was our first Ready, Set, Go book that Sheridan students helped create. They worked very hard on this. It took about over a year to actually get this easy picture book in dual language. It's in English and Amharic. And so we got that one established. It was a great experience for our students at Sheridan to actually be published authors. So she came back and we had a celebration of that. Well, on down the line, 2021 comes along and she says, Carol, she came back for another author visit. I have seen an article in National Geographic, and it showed butterflies, painted lady butterflies, in Ethiopia. And it was their migratory pattern from Europe to the north of Africa. I think that would be a great book to create for Ethiopian children to have a nonfiction book on such a topic. Would you be interested in having your students help you write that? I said, let's go. Let's propose it to the staff and the students. And they all enthusiastically said, yes, we want to do another book. So as a result, this is the book that came out of that particular project, The Journey of Butterflies. I had just retired, so the current library there was kind of the lead person for it, but I was there for all the lessons, and the 5th grade students at Sheridan were the ones that did the research for this book. I drew in 4 entomologists from around the world to be our experts to check our facts. So K-State University, one of their heads of their entomology department, was part of that. Actually the author and photographer in National Geographic that started this whole idea rolling with Jane Kurtz, I contacted him. He was a source for us. We found another actual gentleman. He was an entomologist from Spain also, and he had done an excellent video that we used as one of our resources for research on painted lady butterflies. So he sent us some materials too. And then I asked Gerard Talavera if he could put me in contact with an entomologist in Ethiopia so that I could get locations and accurate information from their research there and scientific words that would need to be translated, which was, a translation is a really tricky thing, I just have to tell you. And it extends the project greatly because we really wanted to get the translation correct. And as a matter of fact, The Journey of Butterflies is the title of our book, but we wanted to call it Painting Lady Butterflies, but Painted Lady Butterflies did not translate well into Amharic. This book has since been translated into several languages. I've got some of them here. And then these are some of the other Ready, Set, Go books that we didn't have a part in writing, but it just gives you a variety of what other things are. We've come up with about, I don't know, over 200 titles, roughly, of these dual language books. And if you went to pass those in, you can take a peek at those. In the back of this book, in the back matter, I explain the whole project, how students from Sheridan got involved, and it talks about the whole thing. So, as a result of this book, the Dr. Zlanarowicz from Kansas State University said, I think you could present this at the Entomological Society of America's yearly conference in Washington, D.C. So Jane and I went and presented our project. Oh my goodness, did we have fun. We had insect stations all over, and here are these little brainiac people coming in to have, all kinds of research done with them, and they had so much fun in our session. I just can't tell you how much they went over and over. The presentation said it was the most fun presentation they'd had the whole session that they were in Washington, D.C. Current projects that we are working on, the beauty of being with Ethiopia Read since 2010 is that I've been able to see it evolve into something that is much more dynamic, and we are going into different avenues, for instance, the Reading Summit, but we're also attracting attention and real recognition throughout the country as being a leading literacy agency in the country of Ethiopia. And so some of the latest projects that we've been doing in the last 3 years. So this kind of gives you an idea of the variety of where we're going with different things. We created a research bibliography of 14-year period of children's literature. So it's a document that people within Ethiopia can use to research and create their own information about the history, the culture, and the forward movement of children's literature in that country. The other project that took, about, 3 years almost, was the World Bank contacted us and said they had some money left over that they needed to use quickly, and could we do something with it for internally displaced people's camps? And so this project really amazed me, and I think it amazed many people, including World Bank. They primarily do projects in supporting health, food, shelter, but they wanted to do this encouragement for education and families that no longer had a home. And that's due to conflict or family conflict. So we created pouches with 3 Ready, Set, Go books in them, and a little card of instruction, and these are all mother tongue envelopes that had these materials in them to give out to families. So we went to 3 camps that had 5,000 families that we distributed to in each of those camps. So that's quite a lot of materials. We did it within 6 months, or 6 weeks. We pulled it together, took these books to these locations. We, if the parents also could not read the cards, then we had training sessions out under the trees for them. Just tips like, when you read with a book, when you read a book with your children, put them on your lap. Point to the pictures. Ask questions. You know, make it a joyful experience that they're interacting. And our staff at that point said this was probably one of the most meaningful experiences they had ever had. It brought hope and joy in one little package to these families. And then, of course, the families could trade the books. You know, they didn't all get the same 3 books, so it created a library of such for families to enjoy. But the World Bank people were like, wow, this is really something. And I was able to speak with World Bank. A group of us went in November we had a board meeting in Washington, D.C., and we were able to just go and thank them. Because of that project, then they spurred 3 more projects that they really funded. And so many, many, many more thousands of books and families were reached across the country of Ethiopia. So, let's see. Another project that we do and have done for years is the donkey mobile library and the horse-powered libraries. And these are primarily down in the southern area of Ethiopia. And the donkey mobile library is just the cutest cart with, you know, shelves that come out and donkeys take them, and they have little stools, and the children just come running when they come to their neighborhood. And it's a real support for the schools in that area, because if children need, there are multiple ways they use these donkey mobile libraries to get into further reaching neighborhoods that don't have access to books and literature. So it's really supporting the actual school system there too. The horse-powered libraries is a librarian that takes saddlebags with books and goes up into the even harder to reach areas, and they just come up under a tree, and some places have kind of established a shelter, and you know, here again, they have a regularly scheduled route, so the children know now when to expect them to arrive. They have all kinds of stories and supporting alphabets and, you know, just literacy in general. It's been very popular. The most recent big project, and it's still ongoing right now, that I've been involved with directly on a particular committee, the mayor's office in Addis Ababa, capital city. Her legacy is to be early childhood development, and they have established a good health care system in all neighborhoods, but the mayor would like to wrap in a literacy piece to this. So they asked us to partner, or we have, because of our involvement and our partnership with them already, we are working alongside them. And we developed, and this is, again, was in November, we developed 10 board books. And we had a small committee of people across the world, 2 in Ethiopia, 1 from Brazil, 1 from Wales, 2 from the United States. And because, and this is so important, because one of the other avenues that Ethiopia Reads had already started developing was a pipeline of starting to grow Ethiopian children's authors and Ethiopian children's illustrators. And because they had already started those workshops, over a year ago, we had manuscripts to actually say, okay, from 54 manuscripts, what are the 10 top ones that we think will be the best fit for this particular mayor's project? Because they want to reach 0 birth to 6, but specifically 0 to 3-year-olds, and grow that culture within families that you start reading from birth. And this is something that you do each day in your home, and everyone can do this if you are supported with some instruction, with encouragement, with materials. So these health clinics will have these books. So we created these 10 board books and matched them with illustrators, had a designer design the books, and the first 5 have been printed. So I'm excited to see those when I go over in 2 weeks. And the next 5 titles are soon to be printed. And then these will be, like I said, in the health centers, and then the healthcare workers will also take these books out into the homes in the neighborhoods. So we're doing a pilot program. The pilot was 2,000 copies of each title, so 20,000 books to start with in like 3 different of the community areas. We, of course, will train the healthcare workers in how to use these materials with families. And so that's what we're involved in right now with that phase. But these are the first 10 board books created in Ethiopia by Ethiopian authors, Ethiopian illustrators, Ethiopian designer, translators, and Ethiopian printers. They never printed them there, so they had to, we had to work with a printer to get the actual project established. So those are some of the latest big news projects that we've been doing.
Carol, what are board books?
Oh, board books. They're books for young children with those thick cardboard pages. And they're, simple vocabulary, about that big. Well, they can actually be different sizes now, but so they're made for children that can just grab hold of them. They won't rip up if they stick them in their mouth. They drop them. It's a sturdy book for children to manipulate. And we are familiar with them here, maybe not known by the term board book, but they are not. They have more this kind of book that is, not as sturdy. And this has way more vocabulary in it than a board book ever would. So, and they are beautifully illustrated to catch the baby's attentions, and that way the parents can talk to them about the illustrations. So, always be on the lookout for The Presence of Wonder. That's E.B. White, one of my favorite authors. do you have any questions? Do we have some time for some questions about all of this? I know I threw a lot at you.
I have a couple.
Yes.
One, on the similar programs in other countries in Africa, like do they have?
There are various other countries that have different initiatives, and if we can learn from them, we always like to do that.
These other countries, primarily staying with Ethiopia.
We are focused on Ethiopia. That is our focus, yes.
What is the problem with the languages? Do they use English as the primary language in their classrooms or a mix?
Right, that's a good question too. He's asked what are the languages and the challenges there. So they have over, 80 languages. Their primary governmental language is Amharic and English. English is taught as a language in the classrooms. So that is the two of the main languages. But we've branched out in reaching other areas by creating other mother tongue languages, like this is Somali, Anuak, Arabic. Actually, the Arabic copy, this was interesting. You can get these Ready, Set, Go books on Amazon, and when we had Open Hearts, Big Dreams establish this book on Amazon, then somebody there thought it would be a great book to translate into Amharic, so they Arabic, so they translated it for free, and that's how we got that particular translation available on Amazon. So.
Well, that's why it's funding.
Mm-hmm.
What's your source of funding for
Well, funding. Ethiopia Read is a small organization that really relies on small donations. Some of the big projects that I've talked about have had funding from big funders or the country itself, the Ministry of Education, but they don't have a lot of money either. So our personal, year-to-year funding is created by mostly personal donations.
So purchasing these books on Amazon, is that a source of funding for you guys?
It is a source of funding for the printing of the books.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much. It's a joy. It's just a joy to work with my friends over there, and it's really made a big difference. I think it's quite obvious over the years to see that.
Thank you. And before we close, we have a